I don't like to speak too much about how people in this program are processing this because I have the luxury of sitting here, which they don't. In 2017, I represented the United States in the Venice Biennale. Big platform, right? But I was really thinking how to expand the platform, and I was thinking of not just the artwork. I wanted to go outside the Giardini. Something would be a little bit more long-lasting, something that had to relationship to the community that could unearth or make more visible possibly areas of Venice that people wouldn't initially think of. You think of Venice, you think of tourists, you think of art tourism, you think of the Renaissance, you think of the great this and the great that, and I just started asking questions, really. Where would you go if you had no place to sleep? I said, oh, you go to this shelter. And then someone said, oh, well, you should talk to the Rio Terà. And I said, what is that? Oh, that's a prison collective. I said, oh, really?
La nostra cooperativa lavora a Venezia negli istituti penitenziari sia maschile che femminile. Nel carcere maschile gestiamo una serigrafia e un laboratorio di produzione di borse e accessori. Nel carcere femminile invece lavoriamo un terreno interno al carcere a ortaggi, quindi facciamo coltivazione di ortaggi e frutta e abbiamo un laboratorio di produzioni cosmetiche e di candele.
Why glass? Glass is delicate, but there's always this unease with it because of gravity. So there's a delicate beauty to it, also the possibility of it just completely shattering. I mean, it's just sand, right? I mean, if you really think about it. Over the years, going back and forth and getting to know Venice so well, the production of glass is very much a part of the islands, Murano more. I wanted to work with the artisans of Venice to connect it to the history of artisans that have existed in Murano.
The bag seems that it's dancing almost. The maestro had to train himself very well for a long time to give them the feeling of hyperrealism. That's very difficult to make because you see, we don't have a meter to measure the temperature. It's a feeling to see how glass responds. If it is too hot, bends. If it is too rigid, you cannot act on it.
You just have to approach people right. I'm not doing glass blowing for the last 20 or 30 years. But you have to listen and give people the respect that no. He was the maestro. I just had an idea.
We discussed with our maestro, and then he understood that it's a noble thing to do. This went beyond the profit. This was something very important for our community, and we are very happy that Mark touched our community.
And then the color rubino, which I've seen so many times, but a lot of times I would see it in art history books, really, when the painting of the Renaissance, and I would always see a certain color. And then I began to ask, what color is that? And that color was associated with the aristocracy, the kind of upper class. And working with people that have fallen off of that social ladder. Rubina can be a cultural marker for Venice, but if you look at the shape of the bag, it is completely a cultural marker of the art world, this iconic art world tote bag. The straps actually should be fallen down, but I wanted to animate them as if there is an invisible body there. It's like a ghost bag or something.
Gli Gli equivoci principali che si hanno, diciamo, attorno al tema complesso del carcere è che nella maggior parte dei casi ci si ferma a pensare e a ragionare sui reati, che sono sicuramente il motivo per cui le persone sono in carcere.
In the process of making the bags, I happened to look on a furnace and there was this very basic counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I remember I had seen that basic counting on prison walls. I didn't want to just make this beautiful rubino bag without inserting the immediate memory of people waiting. People in prison understand time in a very different way. I can come and go. I wanted to remind that this is about time.
Quello che noi vogliamo sempre cercare di comunicare, non dimenticarci di chi sta dentro il carcere, perché sono persone che un giorno torneranno fuori ed è interesse di tutti che tornino fuori migliori di come sono entrate, tornino fuori con altri obiettivi per le loro vite e altri strumenti per poter vivere diversamente. Quindi prenderci cura delle persone in carcere finché sono lì è un investimento per il futuro della collettività intera. Il laboratorio di produzione di borse e accessori produce una linea di prodotti marchio MaleFatte, che in Italia è un po' un gioco di parole. Anche in questo caso, diciamo, materiale di recupero, perché erano comunque resti delle produzioni che sarebbero stati buttati via. Nel laboratorio di serigrafia stampiamo sia disegni originali di nostra creazione o che ci vengono proposti in collaborazione con magari artisti locali, e anche in questo caso facciamo un servizio di stampa per terzi, quindi collaboriamo con musei per i loro bookshop, teatri, altre associazioni, organizzazioni in occasione di eventi e manifestazioni. Nel carcere femminile coltiviamo un orto, quindi è un orto piccolo, però ci dà la possibilità di avere una varietà stagionale di verdura e qualche albero da frutto che vendiamo proprio davanti al carcere. Una volta alla settimana si fa un piccolo banco di vendita e questo nel tempo ha dato non solo la possibilità di vendere gli ortaggi, ma anche di creare un rapporto con il vicinato, tra le donne che uscivano a vendere, che escono a vendere, e il vicinato. Qui siamo a Process Collettivo, è un negozio che abbiamo aperto nel 2017 ed è stato, diciamo, il segno tangibile più evidente della collaborazione con Bradford.
When people would leave prison, it was a way to have a professional environment for them to kind of integrate and to deal with local people who aren't in prison again.
Che appunto è molto significativa proprio per lo scopo di riuscire a fare da tramite tra l'interno del carcere e la società esterna.
Animated from within, not something imposed on the outside, but the animation comes from within. That's what you always hope for. It's like the first year that we opened the store, it seems like the whole city of Venice turned out. When a project animates and has a life of its own, and people feel ownership of it. That's not something you can control, that's just something you hope for. Mark Bradford's pavilion is gone. Tomorrow is another day. It is gone. But Process Collettivo goes on its own legs. It stands up.